The cryptocurrency market was going up a bit earlier today, but prices for some coins have been going down more since then. Still, if you look at Live Coin Watch here, you can see that it's mostly green instead of red. Some coins are up a few percentage points, while others are more like 8 or 9%. At the time, Bitcoin's price is pretty much the same as it was earlier. It's because of something that happened today. Some news came out, and it's the kind of thing that makes protests happen. That's why I want to talk a bit about it. Also, a lot of people who study XRP charts talk about how the idea of XRP surrender sounds scary. XRP would have to go down a lot before it could go up. However, are we really trapped here? Yes, I would also like to talk about that for a little while, but I want to be clear before I go any further. There is no money history of any kind for me. I'm not giving you business advice. Also, you should never buy or sell something because of what I write or say. You could say I'm an enthusiast who likes making YouTube movies about crypto as a hobby and for fun. It is 6:31 p.m. when I record this video. It's Friday, September 26, 2025 at 8 a.m. Central Time. It costs $2.78 to buy XRP. You got Bitcoin for just under $110,000. You can see that it's been unstable. XRP dropped as low as $2.70 this morning and then rose as high as $281. There wasn't a huge split, but there was news that affected the market, even if it was only slightly. This is what CNBC said in their lead. In August, the core inflation rate stayed the same at 2.9%. Just as we thought, Fed's gauge shows. Today we got the PCE index, which is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. It came in at 2.7% year over year. Core PCE, which takes out energy and food, was 2.9%. Both numbers were right where people thought they would be, so that wasn't really a surprise. However, you should be aware that this comes after a much bigger drop yesterday. So I think the market was still happy to see that it met their hopes. The worry comes from the fact that these numbers are the highest they've been since February. To put it another way, inflation isn't going down slowly anymore. In fact, it's beginning to rise again. In most cases, that would make the Fed stop raising rates or even think twice about doing so. Now, of course, we just had our first rate cut right now, right? That took place this month. Oh, 25 basis point cut. In normal situations, you might look at this and think, wow, that's probably going to cause the Fed to change its mind and either stop raising rates or start raising them again. To be honest, though, the Fed is still on track to keep cutting rates, which is good if you hold risky assets like stocks and crypto. This is why. Yes, the GDP for the second quarter was updated higher just the other day. I talked about this in a video that came out yesterday. This shows that the economy grew faster than we thought. At least that makes things look strong on the surface. On the bottom, there are signs of weakening. To be honest, you can look at a lot of different measures. Job growth is cool, but it's hard to get credit. Leading economic signs still show that growth will be slower in the future. And the Federal Reserve knows that having rates too high for too long can easily throw things off balance, especially since there is so much debt in the system. And because people still think that long-term inflation will stay close to 2%. That's what they're saying anyway. They think they can be more relaxed without losing authority. What this means is that real rates are going down. Well, it's clear that funding is rising. And to be honest, this is why it matters if you have XRP. That's what risk assets love. We probably saw this happen today. Cryptocurrency prices went up a little after the PCE report because buyers saw the numbers as, not too hot or too cold. In any case, this comes after some bad price movement the other day. In that case, I believe that would be very helpful, as I already said. But yeah, inflation is going up, but at least it's going up at the rate that people thought it would. That means the Federal Reserve is still on track to cut rates, and prediction markets prove that. Even if the change wasn't huge, it was clear that the story led to at least a short-term improvement in mood. And the same goes for Bitcoin, including XRP. Once more, this is why it's important. This is the kind of background that makes people want to hold protests. As you know, inflation is still above target and money is easy to get. That makes the same kind of situation we saw when crypto prices went through the roof in 2020 and 2021. As I always say, history has a way of repeating itself. That's what you should expect. Also, I'll just add this because I've been thinking about it a lot. For some reason, the Russell 2000 always comes out during alt season. That's small cap stocks, which are important because that's where the Russell 2000 starts to grow. It's not a surprise that when the Russell 2000 goes down, alts go down. That would be great for XRP. We did hit a new all-time high last week, the first one in almost 4 years. And the Russell went down the other day, but it's up almost 1% today. I really don't understand how it got back to this level, poked above, and then said, okay, I'm done for now. It just doesn't make sense, especially with global M2 as it is. That money needs to be put somewhere. People also tend to be more willing to take risks with their assets when there is more money floating around. In the short run, I know that people are scared. If you give them enough time, I don't think they'll be as scared. To be honest, I think people will be in a state of pure happiness if you wait long enough. I still think it will happen. This is a post from the great 𝗙𝗵𝗶. And this is the total value of all the cryptos out there, he said. He says, total is still just range bound and building a base at the highest levels ever. Still, some people say it's game over because they think we're losing all kinds of support. Also, people, I keep seeing that. And if you use social media, you've probably had something also pretty similar happen. A lot of bad news out there. A lot of it. At the same time, this is happening, and I agree that it's a key level. Yes, I have also been talking about that, and sometimes the unlikely works out just fine. It might sink down. That's not likely to happen, though. I believe that prices will go through the roof, and then XRP will finally go on a face-melting rise for the first time in more than 10 years. We're still waiting for the last price-finding phase, when everyone's face melts. I still think that comes next. People always act the same way, like making money on Bitcoin, then staying greedy and investing in other coins that haven't pumped yet. It doesn't make sense that they won't do that once again. Even though global M2 has been going up and is almost at an all-time high right now, you think that human behavior just doesn't apply anymore. Come on, man.